Governor Murphy, just a couple months in office, already adjusting his revenue projections for legal recreational marijuana, which of course hasn't even gotten out of the starting block yet. Plus, the governor's spending a lot of time talking about marches in Washington and pushing back against the Trump administration. Had a couple things to say about the budget and other things today. Tom DiDonato was there. Tom, what do you got?
Governor Murphy gave the closing remarks at the New Jersey Policy Perspective Conference in New Brunswick. Murphy boasted about his new sales tax, marijuana legislation, and the recent amount of money that's going to be funded by the federal government for New Jersey Transit. Murphy backed up his increase for the New Jersey sales tax, saying $340 million will be spent in education.
Without that tax, we would not be investing $341 billion into our state's classrooms and putting ourselves on a path to fully funding our school funding formula and to achieving universal pre-K within 4 years.
On the way out, I tracked down Murphy, and he spoke about the $550 million the federal government may approve for the Gateway Tunnel project.
No, my only comment is this real quick, and I'm just going to talk one thing on Gateway. It's a major step in the right direction, but we have a lot more steps to go, but it's a big step in the right direction.
In New Brunswick, for Chasing News, I'm Tom DiDonato.
Okay, thanks, Tom. All right, let's bring in the A-plus panel. I'm joined by Republican Mayor of Evesham Township, Randy Brown. Good to see you back.
Hi, Bill.
Jeanette Hoffman is with us, Republican strategist. Always good to see you, Jeanette.
Thanks,
and Elora Nanos, who's a lawyer and columnist for Law and Crime. Guys, all the things going on in Trenton, the governor talking about everything from contaminated soil to marches in Washington. I noticed the marijuana revenue, very different now. $60 million projected versus the $300 million he campaigned on. Randy, what's your take on that? I mean, that literally is a drop in the bucket with a $35 billion budget.
It is. I've done 11 budgets locally, Bill, and it's hard to put realized revenue in a budget when there's legislation hasn't even been passed yet. And that number is so significant of a drop-off, something that he's going to have to look at very hard.
Jeanette, how do they reconcile that? I mean, you've got the Speaker of the Assembly, the Senate President, the Black Caucus in the Senate and the Assembly saying, not so fast on this. This is not a done deal.
Right, exactly. And one school of thought is the reason why the revenue numbers are so small for recreational marijuana in the budget is because Governor Murphy knows it's a very big, long shot to get the legislature to go along. The Senate Budget Chairman doesn't like it. The Senate Health Committee Chairman doesn't like it. The Majority Leader doesn't like it. So if you only put $60 million in there, if you lose it, if you don't get it, it's not that big a deal as if a $300 million budget
And
hole.
meanwhile, they're opening up the floodgates on medical marijuana. They're going to open up new dispensaries. They're talking about expanding it dramatically. One suggestion was to let people grow it at home. I think that may be a non-starter. But Laura, what do you think?
Well, I think that this points to something that we know about politics, which is that it's very difficult for politicians to know when it's time to be optimistic and when it's time to be realistic, because we want optimism infused in things like what our plans for the future are. But of course, we don't want to be so optimistic that we're tanking our budgets because they don't work.
Because you can't get it passed.
Right. So I do think, look, this 60 million number isn't in there until I think January. So I mean, I think it is being done relatively conservatively, but I mean, he's got to put it in there.
Jeanette, how is the press not hammering him?
Yeah.
If any other politician had done this, why does he get a pass? He campaigned on $300 million.
A lot of his priorities of revenue raisers in the budget, he does not have the support of the legislature, so they're not going to happen. It's almost like he's writing a letter to Santa Claus. Like, here's what I want. I want a pony, and the legislature is saying, no way, you're not going to get it.
We can't criticize by saying $300 million is too high, and then when he lowers it, say that that's also bad. So, I mean, it just doesn't work like that. Something's going to go in there, and if that's the number that seems to make the most sense.
He's another politician that said something to get himself elected.
That's it. Soundbite. There you go. Thank you.